Thank you for joining us for this 5:30 p.m. briefing. Today we will hear from Sheriff William Snyder, Michelle Jones, Director of Emergency Management, Congressman Brian Mast, Representative Toby Overdorf, and Commissioner Ed Hampe, the Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. Then Sheriff Snyder will come back and wrap up with any questions, and we will do our best to answer the questions we have with the information that we have at this time. So I'm going to let Sheriff Snyder take over, and then we will go down the line, and you can answer or ask the questions at the end of the briefing.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you again to our partners in the media for coming here. Our goal today is what it was earlier, and that is to share every bit of information that we have. We're trying to set the exact right notes for what we're about to say. We understand that people are paying attention to what we say and that what we say matters. And so we want to be very careful not to overemphasize nor underemphasize the severity of the threat that we collectively face here on the Treasure Coast and in Martin County specifically. As we speak, as I speak, I have 20 extra deputies on the streets now in mark units advising the public in areas that are under mandatory evacuations that they must leave. And we're seeing a trickle now of people coming into the shelters. We'll continue to work with our more endangered areas to make sure that they do get out of town or seek a shelter or leave the area. With that, it'd be my privilege, and we'll do answers at the end. So I'll be available up here for law enforcement questions regarding curfew and evacuation. But Michelle Jones is our Director of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Sheriff. Shelters opened as of 1 p.m. today. We currently have about 784 individuals in those shelters and 10 pets in our first pet-friendly shelter. We are encouraging residents to ensure they bring all necessary items to their shelters with them. That includes 3 to 5 days of non-perishable food for those with special diets, water, medication, clothing, toiletries, snacks, bedding, pillows, cots, a sleeping bag, identification, important documents, cash, and a flashlight, books, magazines, quiet toys for the kids, things that do not rely on power. And if there are infants that are seeking shelter with us, food, supplies, diapers, blankets, bedding, and clothing. At our shelters, we're asking and encouraging residents not to bring pets except at our pet-friendly shelter at Willoughby Learning Center. Drugs, alcohol, firearms, or our wonderful deputies will be having words with them. We have 4 general shelters open: Port Salerno Elementary School, Jensen Beach High School, Hidden Oaks Middle School, Warfield Elementary School, and as I mentioned, our pet-friendly shelter, Willoughby Learning Center, and our special needs shelter, Anderson Middle School. Our evacuations began at 1 p.m. today, and our mandatory evacuation remains in effect. That evacuation order is for zones A and B. So on our map and on our website at martin.fl.us, residents can click on the Know Your Risk button and enter their address and identify what zone they're currently located in. But this includes residences on the Barrier Islands, Hutchinson Island, and Jupiter Island, Souls Point, our manufactured and mobile homes, homes in low-lying areas, and residents are strongly encouraged to follow these evacuation orders. And additional evacuation orders may be identified if our conditions change. We also want to remind residents that they should expect to see higher tides than normal over the next 3 to 4 days. Under normal circumstances, the highest high tides of the month should occur on Sunday, September 1st, due to the proximity of the Earth to the Moon. This lunar tide will be augmented by storm surge from Hurricane Dorian, and high tides may continue to increase for several days as a result. Coastal high tide on Sunday will be at 10:30 a.m., with the inland area high tides occurring several hours thereafter. Temporary flooding of low-lying areas adjacent to tidally influenced waterways is expected, so please keep that in mind. There will be no sandbag operations tomorrow, Monday, September 2nd, and our community information line is now 24 hours open and available to residents. And that number is 772-287-1652. Comcast has also announced that it's opening its network of Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots throughout Florida to anyone who needs them, including non-Xfinity members, free of charge. Verizon is offering unlimited calling, texting, and data for customers in the path of the hurricane. Verizon's prepaid, postpaid, and small business customers in the path of the hurricane will have unlimited calling, data, and texting from September 2nd to September 9th. AT&T announced it's waiving data overages in affected Florida areas from September 2nd to September 8th. We encourage our residents to stay informed and stay connected with their families. If they're evacuating or going to a shelter, we want to make sure that they're aware of how to communicate and what these different vendors have to offer them. There are almost 28,000 linemen, tree crews, and support personnel staged around Florida from FP&L to help quickly restore power. And the Florida Highway Patrol is escorting fuel trucks to ensure fuel reaches critical areas more quickly. The state is working closely with the fuel industry to ensure there's an adequate fuel supply statewide. The state has 819,000 gallons of water, 118 million meals, and 730,000 pounds of ice ready for distribution. So we're continuing to work closely with our state and federal partners in the event that we need any additional supplies. Uber announced that it'll be offering free round-trip rides up to $20 each way to and from state-approved evacuation shelters. Folks can download the Uber app, tap payment in the app menu, scroll down to promotions, and then enter the code Dorian Relief. As I mentioned earlier, you have a list of our evacuation shelters, and that's available to our residents as well. And we're also continuing to encourage residents to download the FPL Connect mobile app to receive updates and report outages and down power lines. Residents can text app to MyFPL, which is 69375. For our folks that are in the mandatory evacuation zone, the Humane Society of the Treasure Coast is accepting pets for hurricane boarding today, September 1st, and will continue to accept shelter animals throughout the duration of the storm. So if you're a Martin County resident who's evacuating your home to a shelter within our community, the Humane Society will board your pet. Online pre-registration is required, and registration information can be found on their website. I would like to introduce Congressman Brian Mast. Thank you.
I'll be brief. All I have is a thank you and a request. The thank you is for this. I've been up and down 3 counties all day long, and what I've seen is everything that community is supposed to be. People have been patient, they've been caring, they've been helpful of their neighbors across the breadth of the area that I've been through, and everybody should be really, really proud of that. Let's try our best to continue that as we get through tougher times, and the request is simply this. Our law enforcement officers, our county officials, they are professionals at what they do. They are professionals at taking in this information, digesting this information, getting it out to people, and making the appropriate requests to keep everybody safe. If people adhere to what our law enforcement and our county officials ask of them, then they will be in a much safer position than otherwise what they would be in. So that is the request. Please listen to these professionals. They know what they're doing. They train in this day in, day out, year after year. They've been through these before, and if you do what they ask, they're going to do everything that they can to make sure you and your family are safe. And so that's the request, and I'll pass it off now. I'm going to pass it off to Representative Obrador.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you, Brian. First of all, I just wanted to say that if you are on the roads right now, please, again, listen to law enforcement. If you are, in fact, thinking about traveling back to the area here, please do not right now. We are, again, you do not want to be stuck on the roads in a high wind environment or therefore not allowed to pass. So please listen to your officials, listen to the warnings that they have associated with that. I will let you know, I just got off the phone with the governor's office. They definitely want to be knowing what's going on here in the Treasure Coast, and they're very concerned with that, and they also are making assets available constantly. So any questions that we have from our local officials, they're getting answered right away, and I'm very proud of the relationship that's going back and forth between the state and the local officials. And with that, I'll pass it to Commissioner Ed Campy.
Thank you, Representative. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last couple of briefings, we've talked about a collaboration amongst the Sheriff's Office, Martin County Fire Rescue, and the school district and Martin County government. I was remiss in not also thanking and acknowledging all of our other partners that are involved in this, starting in the north, the government of Ocean Breeze, the Sewells Point government and their police department, Jupiter Island and their police department, and the city of Stewart, of course, their fire rescue, their police department, and all of their government. We also have had the school district and all of their assets and resources available to us, especially now that the shelters are open. We've had the Florida Department of Health that's located here in Martin County. Their representatives have been here. The Red Cross, the folks out in Indiantown have also been monitoring their new government for us, but they're very interested in helping and seeing what this will mean to their residents, but how they can assist the rest of us here on the coast. The Red Cross, the U.S. Coast Guard, FEMA, the National Guard, the Florida DEA, and the Department of Emergency Management, both at the state and regional levels, and of course FPL, but all of our constitutionals, Carolyn Timmon, Vicki Davis, Ruth Petruszewski, and Laurel Kelly. I've also seen representatives from the 19th District, Tom Backendall's here from the State Attorney's Office. It's a collaboration of everyone and every governmental entity in Martin County. I just wish that you could see to our left, the dozens and dozens of individuals that are here working on your behalf to make sure everyone's safe. I wish you could see what we are seeing in front of us here, all of the media that has been covering this so well. I've been watching, I'm sure like everyone else has, at home, looking for information, looking for accurate, up-to-date information, and all of our news media partners have been doing that. We really very much appreciate it. As a parent, there's only two things I'd like to bring up from a safety point of view. If you have college-age students and you plan on evacuating, or they might have to be in the path, make sure they understand, especially for those of us that have freshmen in college, that they understand what's happening in their school sites. Certain schools have asked students to evacuate dorms. Other colleges have not asked that. As the storm works its way up the coast, many different educational facilities will be impacted. Make sure you have a plan with your children if we are to lose communication, that they understand what you would expect them to do to stay safe. And also another thing, I've heard some folks in my neighborhood talking about that the waves are going to be great and it's a great opportunity to go surfing. It's a terrible idea to go surfing now. These are the tragedies that we can absolutely avoid. There are some, sadly, that we won't. That's one of them. Do not go surfing. Do not go into the ocean during this time. I mean, it shouldn't be that we'd have to mention that, but we do. And then also, once the storm is over, most of the accidents and injuries occur after the storm. People are pent up. The kids get out into standing water, which can also be dangerous because of downed power lines, fire ants, snakes. And also, I know we've been putting up panels, helping neighbors put up panels in our neighborhood. People are tired, they're fatigued, they're doing a lot of work that they haven't normally done. Lifting ladders, carrying panels, especially if you have a second-story house. Please be careful. We could not be happier with our professional and our governmental response. You heard how well our businesses and community partners are responding. Now the rest of us need to just stay safe and see what happens. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will turn it over back to Sheriff Snyder.
Thank you, Commissioner Campy. Before we open it up for questions, let me just ask us a rhetorical question. So where are we? After all that, where are we? Let me try to put it into an illustration that will help. We are a short boat ride away, that being the Bahamas, from one of the largest storms in recorded history. There's no hyperbole there. It is 180 plus mile an hour sustained winds. So where are we, and where is that storm going? The only thing that has been absolutely certain throughout this entire period of time is the uncertainty of where that storm is going. And that uncertainty will not change in the near future. So where are we? We are within 20 miles of an apocalyptic hurricane coming ashore on the Treasure Coast. If it does what the models are predicting, we will be okay. We will see gale force, tropical storm winds along the coast, some inland, but we will be fine. If, on the other hand, the storm wobbles 20 miles to 30 miles off its current path, and that's not a lot, we will have landfall. So when I say this now, I say it with that as the background. If you are in a pre-manufactured or manufactured home or a trailer, and you're obviously been requested to evacuate, been ordered to evacuate, and you don't evacuate, you are taking the chance of a lifetime. We have to balance up here between being honest and not creating panic and not being under a concern. So the sweet spot in all of this is if you're in a manufactured home, go. Go to a friend, go to a neighbor, outside of your home development, a shelter, whatever you have to do. Do not, please, for God's sake, do not ride this storm out in a home, in a mobile home or a pre-manufactured home if that wobble hits us. So with that, it's my pleasure to open it up for questions. Why don't we do law enforcement first, because I'm here. I'll step aside. The federal government's here. The county is here. Emergency management, the schools will get your questions answered. Yeah, the question is there a prediction yet? And I'm going to just repeat what I said. We're so close to the edge that they don't know. We've been watching these models all day. We have the advantage of listening to Melbourne Weather and the National Weather Service coming in here specifically for public safety. So they're not, I say this humbly, they're not selling advertisement space to keep people watching TV. They're just trying to give us their best analysis. And the best analysis is 20 miles this direction and we're in trouble. Oh, curfews. I heard wobble. That's right. Curfews will not be in effect until there's a public safety reason for it. So I would suspect that being I'm the one that would impose a curfew, it would not be until after the storm. So from now until storm conditions, and then after storm conditions, we won't do curfews. Any law enforcement questions? Yeah, the question is, how are they going? They're going like they always go. Some people have decided already they're going to take their chances, and some are being reasonable in leaving. The shelters are just seeing a trickle. Actually, you have today. There's no weather problems today. I would suspect that a lot of people are packing up, getting ready, and that they'll go. You don't have to go this minute. Any law enforcement questions? Okay, good. So are there any other questions for anybody up here? Angela?
Are you getting any assistance from state?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Congressman Mass, but we will be moving through the streets in the next days in an MRAP, a mine-resistant armored personnel vehicle. We also have 4 high water vehicles that we got from the federal government. We are currently using federal government assets, and then you want to finish that, Congressman?
Certainly, sir. So there are 2 lanes for federal assistance through FEMA. One of those is what goes on with the emergency disaster declaration that affects everybody statewide for those cleanup efforts. That's already been approved. It's already online, just waiting for something to have need to be cleaned up. The other side of it is the individual efforts. There are those efforts for individuals with FEMA, and that doesn't go on until after a storm passes, where there's a county by county determination of if there's need for FEMA assistance. So that will be assessed whether there is need for FEMA assistance for each individual county after the storm passes, but FEMA is standing by. People in my office are standing by to assist others with. We've already done, one press conference with FEMA officials and Small Business Administration officials that will also be available after the storm passes, where they were just talking about ways to reach out to them and some of the things that you can do ahead of time to be ready to deal with those agencies. So yes, we are in contact with them. They're standing by. They're ready to go, and that will happen after the storm passes.
And if I can jump in there as well, on the state side, the State Department of Emergency Management is on board. They have staged assets in the region. They'll deploy those assets where we can once we know where they're needed. The governor has authorized 4,200 National Guard to also respond. They are awaiting their orders and standing by. They're at their assembly point. So they are, again, waiting for that. Additionally, on power restoration, we are also working to that. Crews have been staged ahead of time, so as soon as we actually realize and know where the need is, the assets will be deployed for that. Some assets have already been deployed, such as water and other things like that, to the various counties that have requested that. So the state is standing by and ready. We have done some forward deployment and some forward staging already. So as soon as we have an idea of where those assets will be needed, we'll take care of it at that time.
The question is, do you have to have an ID to get into the shelter? And no. Yeah, the answer is no. No ID is necessary. Let me stress one more time, that if you cannot take your dog into a shelter that's not pet friendly. So please don't show up there with your dog.
One more question on the shelters, Melissa. You said there's a little less than 300 people in the shelters today. Do you expect like a surge of people to start showing up? So when do you expect that kind of people really?
Yeah, the question is, when do we expect the people to show up? We don't have a crystal ball. I mean, I'm thinking if I was home in a manufactured home, I would probably stay until the last minute, enjoy my home, enjoy the comforts of home. These shelters are not designed for every creature comfort, and then get going before the storm starts rolling in. We know the weather conditions will start to deteriorate tonight. You'll still be able to drive, but we're going to start to have gusty winds and rain, especially if you're elderly. I think towards the end of the day, it's 10 to 6. It's still plenty of light. If you're in a manufactured home, you've been asked to leave. Either go to a shelter or go to a friend somewhere in this community that is in a much safer house. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to give guidelines for every single scenario.
And as we're looking at shelters, and specifically the pet-friendly shelter, again, we can't have, or we are not accepting people with pets in the general population shelter. There's the pet-friendly shelter for that. At the same time, folks cannot go to the pet-friendly shelter to drop off their pets if they are evacuating. That's why we have that partnership with the Treasure Coast Humane Society. So if anyone is looking to drop off their pet to have it cared for while they're evacuating, if they can't take their pet with them, the Treasure Coast Humane Society can provide that option for them. Thank you.
Where is the actual?
It's at Willoughby Learning Center on Willoughby
In
Road.
between Pomeroy and Salerno. It's right next door to Pinewood Elementary.
One last question. You said earlier that deputies are going door to door. Like specific problems or issues that the deputies are running into?
Yeah, the question is, as we're going out, notifying the residents, are we encountering any problems? The answer is no. We do not have the manpower or the person power to go to every door. So we're using our loudspeakers on our vehicles. We actually have our SWAT vehicle, which has an extremely loud overhead. We use it to disorient and distract hostage takers and barricaded subjects, and we're using that to get their attention. And then there are road patrol units in the area that are going and talking to people who come out of their homes. So yeah, we would never be able to knock on every single door. You all, thank you so much. You continue to be good partners, and we will continue to man our posts and be ready for what we have lies ahead of us. Thank you.